All right, I'm the Sage Wanderer, and we're talking once again about Civil War 2.0. Today I would like to talk a little bit more about Antifa. So, maybe now, after the occurrences of the previous weekend in Berkeley, where a handful of extremely peaceful protesters were beaten, pepper sprayed, had urine and feces thrown upon them by Antifa for just showing up, denouncing violence. These people I'm quite familiar with. During my research, I've seen all sides, the many sides. I've listened to Antifa speak. They don't say much other than they hate you because you're, a racist and a Nazi. I talked previously about the purge. I talked about how to Antifa, Nazi, white supremacist, KKK is code for anyone who doesn't agree with them. And that the heart of what they're doing is a Bolshevik revolution. That these people are anarchists and communists. And that their real intention is to destabilize America, bring about a chaotic anarchist revolution where they will murder rich people and take their possessions and split them up amongst the Antifa combatants. So really, this is more about theft. This is more about murder. This is more about the reconstruction of the United States into a communist organization where the Antifa combatants sit on top of the pile and keep the rest of us enslaved. Don't listen to what Antifa says about themselves. Listen to what's being said about Antifa by police, by international watchdog groups. If you want to know about Antifa, look at the international organization. When I spoke with a young Antifa convert, they had no idea that Antifa was an international organization that really was started in Germany more than a decade ago, and that violence and destruction and targeting of individuals who don't agree with them has been going on there for a very long time. Look at the most recent G20 conference in Hamburg, Germany, and you will see 10,000 Antifa trying to kill our world leaders, and only the Hamburg police kept them from doing it. This is not protest. This is a Bolshevik revolution. This is a war. Civil war is not coming. Civil war is here. It's just not going to look like the Civil War that you're used to seeing on PBS from the 1860s. Armies aren't going to line up in gentlemanly fashion and shoot at each other across an open field. Antifa is a terrorist organization with revolutionary ideas, and I don't mean that in a good way. They want a revolution in this country, not a peaceful one, not a political revolution. They want a class war. This is not about race, because one of the main leaders, who you may have seen if you're paying attention at all, get the crap kicked out of him in Berkeley this past weekend, is Japanese American. That the people that stand to the left and right of him are African Americans. The Patriot Prayer Movement is about individuals who are praying for peace. Their signs at Berkeley this past weekend were signs that said peace and love. They were holding their hands up like this in total submission while Antifa beat them. And honestly, if we're to overcome Antifa, I think maybe the only way we get attention is that, individuals who believe in peace have to go out there with the peace symbol, the peace flag, and the peace agenda, and submit themselves to Antifa to be beaten, kicked, and potentially killed. Ultimately, that's how Martin Luther King's people overcame and brought about the civil rights movement, because they were willing to be sacrificed to the awful racists. Sometimes, most of the time, when you're dealing with true, ugly, demonic aggression, the only way to overcome them is to expose them And the only way to expose them is to not fight back, but to hold your hands up in peace while they beat you, so the world can see what they really are. This brought the racists in the South out to the public eye when young African American men and women, alongside Jews and whites, marched for peace, marched for civil rights, and they didn't fight back. And the Southerners released dogs on them, and the Southerners hit them with fire hoses, and the Southerners bombed their churches and killed their people. And then the government took action. So I think that the government right now is useless against Antifa because they think this is just a couple of mobs with their differing opinions fighting it out in the street. There's a dangerous concept that's being administered by government officials where they believe that this is frustration due to the economy, just like I do, and that these race riots and that Antifa aggression needs to be vented, that they just need to be given a space downtown where they can tear stuff up and make their point, and then they'll feel better and maybe this all will go away. But I think it's out of ignorance because these people aren't angry. These people are focused. Antifa, in particular, has an international communist agenda. I believe they're being funded by foreign entities that are trying to destabilize America. That the rank and file Antifa are being stirred up with propaganda and brainwashing. But at the top levels, they know what they're doing. They're trying to bring about martial law in our nation. They want to bring about civil unrest. If you are sitting on the sidelines right now and not paying attention, you may not know what's going on until they come to your house, until the purge comes to your neighborhood. It's time for you to wake up. Civil War 2.0 is here. The purge is coming. And I think the next step will probably be that the people on the right, the gun owners, average rank and file Americans, rural people, will get a belly full of this. They will have had enough. They will make their decision. And when they do, the shooting will start. I believe that snipers like the DC sniper will soon emerge. I believe that self-defense situations within these riots will become shooting self-defense situations, where one of these guys are getting tired of getting their brains bashed in for saying peace, 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 and they throw it in and say, well, screw this, and they pull a pistol out and they mow down a few of them. I don't think the government is going to do anything about Antifa. And here's why. Because the people at the top levels of government in the West and in the Pacific Northwest and in other places like Baltimore and other places in the East, they're on the side of Antifa. They are frustrated that they can't get rid of Donald Trump through any legal means. And they're tired of losing the election by a few thousand votes, which has happened twice now. Gore, he lost by hanging Chad. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, supposedly, allegedly, and lost the Electoral College. This is creating a frustration within the left that is allowing them to at least look the other way when this violence is occurring, because they're looking for another way of gaining power besides the election, because they know we're deadlocked. We're like a deadlocked jury. We're a polarized nation. 50% on the left, 50% on the right, and each election is by a tiny margin. And that disenfranchised side is tired of waiting for the tide to turn, and they want to take it by force. Because I think the people on the extreme left are not Democrats. They don't believe in democracy. They want a socialist country. They want a socialist system here in our nation. And I believe Civil War 2.0 is their method for attaining their goals. Antifa leaders are openly saying to the left politicians that your way, your electoral method, your constitutional method of attaining power is not working, and some other method must now be employed if you want to get anywhere. Antifa is telling Democrats you are fools for believing that you will ever get what you want without using other methods. And other methods are violence, revolution, physical revolution, not ideological thought revolution, but physical, violent revolution is the only way for them to win. No one wins a civil war, especially in these times. I talked in another episode about how our enemies would exploit this opportunity to take us down, that there would be no more America if a civil war breaks out. I'm one of the tiny voices in the world. My views are just, I get no views. Share this video if you believe in what I'm saying, if you believe that peace and the constitutional method of government is how we've always dealt with our grievances, and that's the right way, not violence, not revolution. Because totalitarian governments rise out of this sort of thing, that when the one side wins and takes power and control over the other, that they punish their enemies. They round them up and kill them all. They suppress freedom of speech. They control the press. All of this is a result of winning. When they win, everyone loses. The only way to win this is through the vote. We've got to hang on till the 2018 elections. But I think it might make it worse because there's going to be a backlash from the right politically. I don't think the Senate and the House is going to flip to the Democrat side. I think the way that the world, the America and the press, Antifa, the left, LGBT, they're attacking our president in really unprecedented ways. And I think that's going to piss off some of the silent majority, you know, some of the welders and some of the plumbers who didn't make it out to vote last time are going to come out and vote in 2018. And you're going to see a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate majority. So we're not one vote away. We have control. We being the Republicans, they have control. I'm not really a Republican. But I've kind of flipped that direction because the other side wants war and I just want peace. I'm going to switch sides back and forth regardless of political affiliation to choose the side that chooses peace. I'm a historian, a student of history. Violent revolutions almost always, especially in modern times, end in totalitarian regimes. I don't want a right-wing, white power, Nazi-controlled, government, and I don't want a left-wing communist-controlled government. I want a constitutional republic government, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. I don't want either side to win. I like a deadlock. It kind of keeps things stable. But this deadlock has led to a point of frustration where no one's going to win. You should prepare to protect your family. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how to avoid engaging in the Civil War, how to survive without becoming a combatant on either side. I think it can be done, but you'll have to have the resources to make that happen. A lot of people that are stirring this up when it starts to go down are going to leave the country. Alex Jones, who's kind of leading the awareness on the right, says, if they kill the president, if war breaks out in America, that he's gone, that he's going to Costa Rica, that he's going to disappear. Well, thanks a lot, Alex Jones. You stir this crap up and then run away. Most of us can't afford to leave the country. We're going to stay right here and face whatever it is that comes down. So in my next video, I'll talk about a way that might possibly happen, because that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to disappear, become invisible. There's only two kinds of people in a war: combatants and refugees. And I don't like either one of those. But I guess I'd rather be a nonviolent refugee than a combatant, because I got a family to take care of, and I got people I love that are relying on me to protect them. Best way to avoid a punch: don't be there when it's thrown. See you in the next video.